Well, thank you very much, Richard. Charles and Eva and young Charles and all the other Currans here. We're all Currans tonight, actually. I think it's like everyone's an Irishman on St Patrick's Day. But the leadership, Charles, that your parents showed in establishing this foundation so many years ago, and the generosity that all of you have shown is, in the case of every single one of you, an act of remarkable love. The Sisters of Charity, who of course established St Vincent's Hospital, did so out of love. Charity is love. And they did so in the most godly way they can be. We are closest to God when we show love. That is when us mere mortals, humans with all of our frailties, that's when we are at our best, when we love another. And the sisters, that has been their vocation. And you know, what you do, what all of you do with your generosity, supporting St Vincent's, supporting through the foundation, what you do is show a very tangible way of sharing your wealth, your good luck, your good fortune, showing your love for those who need it, for those like the homeless people we mentioned with HIV, like the patients we just saw on the video. That love is critically important. Now, obviously, as the Prime Minister, I'm responsible for a government that spends many, many billions of dollars of yours on health and hospitals. I'm not going to talk about that tonight. You're familiar with that. I want to talk about what philanthropy does. Philanthropy, a Greek word, love of mankind, love of fellow man. That dollar from the government and the dollar from you buys exactly the same amount. Dollar is a dollar. And do we know that the bulk of the funding for our health system, right, whether it's the primary health care or acute health care and hospitals, comes from governments, as it should. But what your contributions come with is your personal love. There is a connection, there is an advocacy, there is a passion. And whether it is a large donation, such as with millions of dollars, or whether it is just $5 or $10 or $100 or $1,000, all of those contributions come with a particular commitment from you. Not only is it a sign of your love, but it is also an element of advocacy. You see, a lot of people are not skeptical, but they dismiss philanthropy because the numbers that are raised, the sums that are raised, are dwarfed by the contributions of government. Each and every one of you has made an investment. You're not expecting a financial return, but you've made an investment and you have become an advocate for St Vincent's. You have become connected to the sisters, to the professors, to the doctors, to the nurses at St Vincent's. It may be that connection came about because you've been a patient at the hospital. I understand over 90% of the contributions come from people who have been patients at the hospital, as indeed Lucy and I have and our family have been. But whether the connection is from a personal experience as a patient or simply because you've been inspired by the work that is being done by the researchers at the Garvan or elsewhere in the St Vincent system, on the St Vincent campus, your personal connection is critically important. So I'm here tonight to thank you and encourage you to give even more generously next year. This speech is designed to encourage you to be even more generous. Because, you know, there's an important reminder, I think, for those of us who have been fortunate in life. We may have been very successful in business. Many of you are. Many of you have been. But you know, in all of that, there is a great element of good fortune. We were born, we have wonderful parents, or we had born with great intellect, might have got a start from our parents. When you look around the world and you look around at your circumstances, there are so many people who are doing it very tough. Homeless people, of course, not just right outside where St Vincent's is, in King's Cross or Potts Point. So many people around the world who are in the most dire circumstances. And that could be us. There, but for the grace of God, go I, is something we should always remind ourselves of. You know, I was once, when I was a partner of Goldman Sachs, I was at a meeting there, and it was a very successful investment banking firm, as I'm sure you know, and there was a meeting of some of the partners, and one of them was talking about how hard the partners of Goldman Sachs worked. And they did. They worked very long hours. And I reminded that gentleman, I said, you know, there are taxi drivers in this city that work longer hours than we do. They don't make very much money at all. So we should always be prepared to share our good fortune. And your leadership by doing so is critically important. Now, I must say, I think the leadership that you've shown, the leadership that the Curran family have shown is also important. There are people who say that charity or philanthropy is best done anonymously. In fact, the great Jewish philosopher Maimonides, Moses ben Maimon, set out what he regarded as ethical levels of charity, and anonymous giving was the most important. With great respect to that sage, he'd obviously not done much fundraising, because I have found fundraising for many causes over the years that there is nothing so persuasive as being able to point to someone who's made a donation and say, look, he or she has made that gift. What about you, you know, skinflint? Get your hand out of your pockets and pay up. So I applaud whenever I see somebody's name on a building. I think that's terrific, because the recognition is no doubt a good thing and a due thing, but the wonderful thing is it encourages others. And there's nothing like a bit of competitive philanthropy as well. So thank you all very much. What you do is so important. I applaud it. You are building in your own way, with your love, on the love of the sisters since 1853. So it's a great exercise. I applaud you for it. I thank you for it. And just remember, give more. I mean, think how good you feel tonight. You'll feel even better. You'll be skipping if you relieve yourself of a few more dollars to contribute even more to the Curran Foundation. $90 million over 2 years, that's very good going. Make it $120 million over the next 2 years. Have a great night. Well done. I'm honoured to be in your midst, and I'm honoured, Lucy and I, honoured and delighted to be supporters of St Vincent's just as you are, because we share your commitment, your passion for that great work of love in that great hospital. Thank you very much.